All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise and glory is unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakakawadash. That belong to our apostles, the bishops, the elders of the great millstone, and greetings, salutations, blessings, much love unto you. Hopefully, like Shalom unto you. Your brother Shaquat with a quick video. And I just want to go into this Superman. Yeah, actually, it's Superman 3. Okay. And in this movie, this is actually, it may be my favorite of the Christopher Reeve. If you haven't seen the Christopher Reeve Superman, it's the iconic Superman movies. This is really where the game was changed with this Superman. It really looked, I was a kid, but it looked like he was flying. The acting was good, and this particular movie had Richard Pryor in it, so he lended a certain level of comedy relief to it, even as well as Christopher Reeve doing some comedy with the physical comedy of Clark Kent. Okay, so when you really get into it, I mean, I'm explaining the movie because but I see things with a spiritual eye. I see these movies like this, right? And so he's walking around playing off like he's not Superman. When you start to think about it, he's not just a bumbling idiot getting himself into all types of things. He's actually well thought out when you really look at how he's doing it as the actor to have to do that. So very good. Now where this correlates to the spirituality side of it is, this is what we do. Okay. Matter of fact, before I get this, let me get another precept real quick. Okay, we continually hear, how should I say, warn you, about how you have to have almost a duality of personalities. It's still the same core you, but you still have to almost be Clark Kent to your spiritual Superman. Okay? Even though, and see, the beautiful part of this character is Superman is always Superman. You go into Kill Bill and how he broke it down, right? You're always the spiritual you, okay? But you have to put on like you're just a regular old guy, that watches football on your days and on Sundays, and just whatever, man. Whatever you're into, you're into it. You're not. Regular Christian, you go to, you know, in certain situations you can play the role. Depends on how deep your character goes. All right. Well, this movie has all this in there. Okay, it has the Superman and the Clark Kent aspect. It has the humanity of Superman. Then the plot twist in this, as you see this guy here, they show the evil Superman, which I'm going to get a piece of that in this as well. But let me start here at Matthew 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Okay? So it says, I'm going to just quote this scripture, he that turneth to righteousness maketh himself a prey. Okay? So when you become a prey, you're not so anxious to be throwing yourself out there, okay, to let everybody know, yeah, I'm a Hebrew Israelite and this is what I believe. So that's why this whole t-shirt fringe thing was never really a good idea. So let me get the video where this came with from inspiration of, okay, then I'll get back into it. Because let me see if I can pull it up just to reference it real quick. Okay. And so this guy here, and this is the guy we all did videos on before, saying that isn't it about time, isn't it safe to say that the Hebrew Israelites were right? All right. And so this is another video brothers have done videos on. I've grabbed a chunk of this. I'll play a little bit of it just to reference what he's talking about, but you say right there, it says, why I went low key about talking about the Israelites and who are we as a people. Okay, because you make it yourself a prey. Okay, people are looking for somebody that's an outcast of society, which goes even into Peter. Okay, then I'll read this scripture and another one, and I follow up with some other ones.
See, now, this is one of the reasons why I step back from talking so much about the Bible and the Israelites. And I'm not saying it was right for me to do that, Well, I can remember in 2014, that was the last year.
Nah, brother, you was right. Okay? Because you end up casting your pearls before swine, and you make yourself a prey unto people. You make yourself the scapegoat. Okay? You know, when I say you make yourself a scapegoat, you make yourself the guy that whenever something goes wrong, they can look and blame you. Okay? You just like you put a target on your back, and you can't just be yourself anymore. Okay? And we know in the days to come, they're gonna be like in the time of Acts when they were persecuting the prophets. That day's coming back when we're defamed and we're demonized and all those other things. You know, especially coming around the time of the famine of the word. So all of this ties right into this. Okay? And I'm going to tie all this into this video. I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. But Lord willing, it's edifying. It'll come full circle in edification. So bear with me.
Stop going so hard about it. From 2012 to 2014, I was like on this crazy rampage trying to tell everybody about the Bible, telling them who we are as the Israelites, telling them about the scriptures in the Bible. And ever since 2014, I've been low key about that. I wouldn't say I went back into the world, but it's like when I hear conversations and debates about the Bible and religion and this and that, I just kind of like just step back and I just be quiet. I stopped trying to.
And it's funny, I worked at a place that was Christian based. Okay, so a lot of the people that worked there at that time, it seemed to have changed now, but a lot of people that worked there at that time were Christians or religious. It was rare that you come across somebody that's not religious. So you always had a Jesus freak in there somewhere that was, oh, I love Jesus. And they always say, do you believe in Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior? And, you go and all of that. And I said, yeah, I believe in the Messiah. Absolutely. Oh, I do. You just however your character is, I would wear that. I wear my, I didn't have the shirt, the suit and the tie with the fedora hat or whatever, the brim hat like Clark Kent, but I had my version of a Clark Kent, where I don't have to reveal my whole hand to you. Okay? And that was really the key. I'm actually not going to play more. You can check this out. There's plenty of places. This video that I swiped a little beginning from was the Elder Brother. Well, I didn't even like it. I seen it though. Elder Brother Karatazar's video. GMS Vegas sit downs 144K. Okay, subscribe and be edified. This is a very good video also. And it's just like a heads up for a lot of you guys that wear the fringes on the t-shirt that just want to be super Israelites. Okay, we're not in, okay, you can say, well, we're in that time. We're not in that time. And you need to rehearse how to do that. There's a time and place for this to be there. But to keep, and it's funny, speaking of Superman, in the movie The Dark Knight Rises, Batman told the Robin character, he said, why do you wear the mask? He goes, you got no family. Like he said, there's always people you love. You wear for them, that the people around you are protected. Okay? That you keep them safe. Yeah, you may be able to handle yourself, but the people around you, they're always going to find someone around you to find out. They're going to Satan will always try to find a soft target for you. Okay? So this is why it's important that you keep a certain level of discretion, as the scriptures say. Okay, now let me go back to Matthew 10. I'm going to end that right there, then I'll bring back in the Superman references for you. Okay, it says, behold, this is Matthew 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. And we know sheep are defenseless in the midst of wolves, which are predators. Okay, be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Okay, and it's just wisdom to not be in and out of things. Yeah, I got this on, big Judah t-shirt with the fringes on it, and and so on and so forth. It's funny, how come I can't be proud? It ain't that you ain't proud, but you got to understand the times we're living in. This is a time of war. Okay, just like you think they got kicked out of Rome And you see, when you read the scriptures, you understand that the Hebrew Israelites were kicked out of Rome because they was causing a big dissension among the people, uprisings among the people. Okay, Paul was one of those key figures. Okay, Yahushua was really stirring up some things. Okay, so when you start looking around and seeing how this goes down, and we all know that they apprehended Yahushua to the point that people were denying him, and they killed John. They took Stephen. I mean, they ended up getting all the prophets. Okay, so you got to see and understand the time that we're living in, and understand what the mission and the prophecy is speaking of. Okay, a lot of the teachers out there, they're not teaching you how to move as a Hebrew Israelite. It's not that you're not proud of it. That's not it at all. I was, as my Clark Kent character, so to speak. This a super Christian was like, hey man, I think, are you a Hebrew Israelite? You heard of them? Oh yeah, I heard of them. Yeah, they make some very good points. Just left it at that, just basic like that. Okay, so it wasn't that I was denying anything or whatever. He didn't have a heart to ask me directly if I was. He asked somebody else, and he said, yeah, I think he is. Because there's no way he's this sharp. And so I don't have to have on my cape and my big S on my chest when I'm out in my regular daily life, at work or wherever, at the supermarket. I don't have to do that. Okay? I don't have to do that. When Jake walks around, you see him, especially if Jake ain't doing, too good for himself, and he got the dirty Judah t-shirt or the dirty purple and gold or whatever, and the shirt don't look like it, like he taking care of himself. That's when you look around and you're just like, dang, now that just puts a bad stigma on the people, on the ministry. Okay? And so this is gonna come full circle back to the Superman, okay? But let me bring you back up to Superman. Okay, so back at the Superman, 3. I Googled it so you can see what's going on. It's from 1983. And what was dope about the movie in 83, Gus Gorman, which was played by Richard Pryor, couldn't find a job. It was tough to get a job. So he was pressed to do certain things, but he was a hustler, like a con man. And it's going to say that when I read the description, but there's a lot of little key elements. There was a lead character, had all the money, and he was a tightwad, and he, which was the villain, which was Ross Webster. So let me read what it says. A matter of fact, I'll get into other details in the movie. I'm not going to give the movie away, but it's Superman. You pretty much know what the movie's all about. Okay, and you see the pristine versions of Superman, the first couple, and the one in the middle, it's not that bright blue or that bright red or that bright yellow. That's when he was tainted. Okay, and he was evil Superman at that moment, which we'll get into that a little bit. I'm gonna speak on that before we close up out of that. It says the plot is the computer programmer Gus Gorman, played by Richard Pryor, is hired by financial tycoon Ross Webster, played by Robert Vaughn, to seize control of a weather satellite and annihilate Colombia's coffee crop, showing you that they can manipulate the weather, and he was doing it with a computer. Okay, so with all of this going on, with the dew and the harp and all of this, and we see what happened in the southeast and in Maui, and we see all these things happening, it really begs you to start looking around like, dang, were they prophesying this way back in 83? Okay. It says when Superman Christopher Reeve, manages to thwart the plan, Webster commands Gorman to use the satellite to locate kryptonite. He finds some kryptonite. The Man of Steel's mortal weakness. We know that, right? And it says, and the scriptures say, find what is evil for thy life and find out what is evil for thy life and give thyself not unto it. Okay? Every man has a kryptonite. Some men's is alcohol, other men's is women, other men it may be, idle time, whatever it is. Every man has his weaknesses. Okay? Money might be the next ones, you never know. Doubt. Okay? It says, but a missing unknown element in the kryptonite replaced by Gorman with tar. And was dope as he was smoking cigarettes. Talking about Richard Pryor, the Gus Gorman character. He was smoking cigarettes. Like, he looked at the side of the cigarette pack and said, tar. Okay, so I'm gonna just add tar to it. And what it was like was what happens to a person when they smoke cigarettes. So it didn't kill him, but it made him like attitude go bad, had him a dingy look. He had a bad attitude, just behavioral changes. Okay, like people that smoke cigarettes, they get that smoking cigarette demon on them. Okay, and so it was kind of interesting to see how that happened. You know, he wasn't as. I mean, it's nice how Christopher Reeve played pretty much three characters in this movie. He played Superman, he played the evil Superman, and he played Clark Kent all in this one movie. And I think he directed this movie. I don't know if they're gonna. No, director Richard Lester. I thought he had something more to do with it, but yeah. Anyway, it says goes on to say replaced Gorman with tar causes an unintended side effect when presented to Superman. And he can feel it, and he was like, but he could tell it wasn't the weakening thing like kryptonite was. Okay, but it did change him. You know, because one particular scene, he was flirting with this lady, because he was the new Superman, so he flirted with this lady, and somebody calls, "Is Superman over there?" "Yeah, could you have him hurry up? Because there's a tragedy, you know." And so he's like, "Superman, there's a bus about to fall into the river." He goes, "Oh, okay." So he goes to move, and then she's standing there, and they're like, you could tell some awkward, almost sexual energy in the moment, and she was like, "Oh, aren't you gonna go?" He goes, "No, I always leave on time, no big deal." And so he gets all close and intimate and makes her uncomfortable. Then he kind of snaps out of like, "Oh, snap, I better go." And when you watch these movies, he usually moves quickly and immediately, and he makes it in the nick of time in all these movies. Well, this one, he hesitated and he came up short, which is different in a Superman movie like this. So to me, it was very entertaining, but you got to think about this in spiritual sense. Okay, when you hesitate to do things that you know you got to get done, it creates a chain of events that are now pushed off rhythm, and it's something that I struggle with. You know, and I've been fighting with it to not procrastinate, and to find these moments and be ahead of them and be on it. So I'm trying to work on that myself. You know, so I seen it in the movie, like, wow, that's a pretty good analogy of what's going on. You know, so you start looking at what's in my life that's not right, that's causing these things. You know, it could be your health, it could be a plethora of things. Okay, but we got to find those things and give thyself not unto it. You know, so going back to the scriptures. Okay, so in this scene, Superman's in a junkyard, and he's the evil Superman. He's trying to fight on the inside, but he can't. So Clark Kent comes out. Okay, and in this, they begin to fight one another, because as the apostles warn us, and we should all know, that you are your worst enemy. Okay. Oh, before I go too far, I was talking about the. Let me get that real quick. I was talking about. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 3. Giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. And evil Superman was going around. He was drinking. He was, and it was funny. This is like, he was a version of Superman, the evil Superman in 1983 was a version of basically Hancock. Okay, and he looked like Hancock, drinking, effing up, not saving people. Messing with women, which he wasn't really. He liked Lois Lane, and he was always trying to court Lois Lane. But in this, Lois Lane was barely in this one. So he was like trying to. It was kind of I'm not gonna say the character like that, but she was kind of a floozy kind of chick, I guess you could say. And he was kind of all over in the movie, but she was like a ploy to get him. So when you watch the movie, I mean, it's just a good movie. Just how they play the Superman character, and in contrast to the Superman we all know. Okay, and this is kind of part of the face and how he played it, and the evil Superman with that type of energy. And you got to be careful because with this knowledge and you going around talking to everybody and then you're gonna get into these debates because these Jesus freaks, man, they out there crazy. Okay, yeah, there's time like I've had LDS or Mormons or whoever come to the door, and instead of me just going in or Jehovah's Witness come around or whatever, instead of me just going in on them and just chopping them down, especially at my front door, hey, this ain't the place where I should do that. Now, if I catch you in public, at the library or somewhere else, hey, it's open season, but I got better things to do. But if the moment permits itself and they invite me in, hey, you're asking for the conversation. So I'll entertain it to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be all, yeah, that's why you're going into slavery. The white man's a devil. I'm not going all that deep. Especially at my front door. I'm not doing it. Okay, that's just not wise. All right? And then now all of a sudden your tires is flat and you don't know why. I don't know why my tires is flat. I wonder what's going on. Somebody egged my house. I don't know what's going on. And that's easy stuff. And that's low level stuff. That's stuff you can wash off and no big deal. Even the flattening of the tires is not a big deal compared to people coming in and kicking your door in. And I'm talking about the troops. Okay? So you got to understand what we're doing and what we're living in and what type of image you're putting out there. Yeah, you upload from the IP address here on your Wi-Fi and all of that. Yeah, okay. That's not nothing. Okay? You have you put off a hostile vibe. That's the difference. Okay? That goes against the ministry. Because let's not act like Hebrew Israelites because they got the boot kissing out there and they got the stupid ass white bitch and it just random just big Planet of the Apes armbands and the all black and they got them at the gun range and all these images that you see, and then the racist vibes that is thrown on that's thrown on us. Yeah, man, these people gonna bug out, even and especially our own people. Okay, a lot of our own people are gonna bug out, man. This thing is esoteric. It's not for everybody. It's for the initiated, the special. Okay? So you can't tell everybody. So I learned to throw little codes out. If they pick up on codes, if they have questions, if they ask questions, hey, I can answer it in a certain fashion. And if they keep digging deeper and I answer it properly, hey, maybe they'll ask more and they'll want to know more until okay, the only answer now is come down on Fremont, on Sundays. Come down to Container Park on Sundays. We're right there. Okay, so that was that part that you got to understand. You put yourself. It's like putting on the cape and flying around. You're doing all of that because you handle the scriptures in such a way that people marvel at how we handle these scriptures and how we understand these scriptures, prophecies. Okay, we can chop down the greatest pastors and theologians. Okay, it's almost like a superpower, but you got to be aware of how you use that. Okay, in this. He was flying around as Superman, evil Superman, more, if I recall, more than he was Clark Kent. Okay, so he didn't. And Apostles had a great Apostle Gabar is what I heard say it, and I'm sure they all know it. Every general or every king has a retreat. You gotta have somewhere else that you can get out of character, that you can go and relax and be in solitude and get out of that one energy that this requires that we be in. Okay, yeah, all constantly tapping into the spirit, of course, and staying in the spirit, of course. But you can't be on 10 the whole time. That will burn you out. All right, especially if you're bringing all this heat and energy. You at the bar and you cussing, you stupid ass eating my bitch. You should have just, well, you ain't got time for that. Okay, because she didn't want to dance with you or whatever. You can't get into that. Want to rumble with some white dudes because two of them got bald heads, whether they're skinheads or not. So you just gotta be more wise when you move out here. And this movie kind of gives an illustration of it. I just always enjoyed that. But as the brother was saying, in the video that gave inspiration and this movie came to mind. Yeah, it's not worth it nowadays, man, to talk to everybody. Okay, because our people, if you go into some of these books, man, our people became worse than anybody else. They became more of a problem than everybody else. Matter of fact, let me get this. It's something I was thinking. 1 Peter 4. I go straight to the point. No, matter of fact, I won't. I'll start at the top. 1 Peter 4:1, it says, "For as much then as Hamashiach has suffered for us in the flesh," and that suffering is being patient. Okay, we have to be patient with people. We have to be patient. Yeah, you want to cuss out a trans. You want to call out wicked weed smoking niggas. That's whatever. What you may want to do these things, but hey, there's a time and a place for it. Okay, every arena ain't for you to step in and shine. For you to be the man. It's more about taking the low. Okay, it says, "Has suffered for us in the flesh. Arm yourselves likewise with the same mind." And really, when you notice how Yahushua was moving, there was time it was a crowd when he was doing what he was doing, but there was time when there wasn't. Okay, when he'd heal people and he don't tell nobody I did this for you, and go on, and whether they did or not is what it was. But where he moved, kind of incognito, and on the low, right? It says, "For he hath suffered in the flesh." For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin, meaning you denying yourself, not trying to be a part and liked by everybody, right? That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of the Most High. He that turneth to righteousness maketh himself a prey, right? It says, "For in time," and here's where the point starts to be made at, for the time past, our lives may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. And a lot of times I find myself, Jacob be talking about something, and they'll go into a worldly something that I may have been a part of in my, in my life before the truth when I was in the world, and I just choose not to go into it. I choose not to even tap in. Yeah, I remember when I used to have them, and there's no reason to even go into that. I start thinking about, if I even bring this out, is this edifying, or will it bring a negative look at me, or just to make me look cool? Is it really something to be getting high fives because I thought I was a ladies' man, or because I used to smoke, or whatever, because I was into these things of the world that now I detest, So I try not to even be in that energy. Jacob, get into it, and you may know something. The only time I would butt in is if I'm brought in by somebody, and then I'll still turn it around and try to find a positive, spiritual answer, a remedy for that. Yeah, I don't do that no more. I used to. I don't do that, man. I notice now that I don't smoke weed and got to deal with the weed, man, and worried about the police and the dispensaries and blah, 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 blah. I notice my thoughts are clear, my memory is good, my health is better. I got more money in my pocket. I start talking about the positive things. Okay? Just so Jake, that's usually a party kill or turn off. Jake be like, "Oh, here we go, goody two shoes. Hey, you shouldn't don't bring me into these conversations then, if you don't want to hear these things, right?" It says, "Wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries." Yeah, we used to be involved in all these things. Okay, so we know about them. But now we're away from them, and they were tied into sin. Hey, we detest these things now. Okay, so I find it just easier and less stress and simpler to just stay away from those situations and those conversations. I don't know, man. Y'all got it, or whatever. Then it says, "Wherein they think it strange," and this is the problem, "they think it strange that you run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you." Like, "Oh, y'all, man, you ain't watched the game this weekend, man. What's wrong with you, man? You ain't." I don't be like, "Man, I'm at camp teaching the word on Sundays, man. I can't watch none of the football game." I ain't got time to break that down. I ain't got time to talk about that with you. Now I don't even follow it. Yep, I don't even see it. If I catch something, I may, the game is a beautiful game and all that. It's entertaining, but I don't really. It's not my, I don't really catch it. I just kind of fade out. They just look at you like, dang, I can't have no fun with you. Yeah, good, good. Cause I can't be involved with your nigga thoughts too deep with Jake in this world, man. Okay, because what's gonna happen is my natural Superman is gonna come out, and some spiritual things are gonna start flowing, and it's not gonna be received the right way. And this is oil and vinegar, right? The scriptures say, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" Okay, what have communion with light and dark? Darkness with light, good and evil, right? And so I kind of fast forwarded to this where you can see Superman fighting Clark Kent. Okay, and really, that's a battle. Well, let me get to this part of the movie, right? See if I can fast forward to it. All right, so this is the thing. So the part I skipped was how I kind of showed a small clip of it, but the evil Superman was beating Clark Kent. Okay, and so now you've become, because of this knowledge, it puffed you up. It could easily puff you up, and now you're making moves in the world that don't reflect the simplicity of Yahweh Shai or the fruits of the Spirit. Now you rubbing brothers wrong. Now you out in the world and people got an evil eye towards you. People should enjoy being around us, man. I hate to say it this way, but they should enjoy it, man. Particularly fellow believers. But even I notice, maybe that's just me, but even in the world, people enjoy being around me. Not like that, but people could feel a good vibe and they should have positive things to say about you. Okay, because you're a problem at work, you may be a problem solver. They come to you, hey man, could I just talk to you for a second, man? I don't know what's going on with this. Man, my wife is doing this. My kids they just come to you and they just, you're like, hey, try this, man. You know anything about this? Hey man, yeah, you just got answers. Being in this truth, you're gonna find yourself just having wisdom, and it's meeting you at everything. And people can realize that you have all this information, and what are they doing? And they begin to gravitate to you with positive energy. Okay, well that's how you remain the positive version of yourself. Okay, but when you start just being man, get away from me, you stupid ass, you just a firecracker always set off. Because drinking is an okay thing to do. You over drink and now you got a bad attitude. You get demons on you and you think it's everybody else and you don't self-examine. All these things are what we all go through. Okay, we all go through these things. Comparing yourself. How come I ain't on the level of an apostle, man? I should be able to do this. Or you get down and have doubt in yourself because there's brothers, on fire in the spirit right now. And instead of taking the inspiration of what he's doing, you want to outdo him for the wrong reasons. That's not how we're supposed to move. Now, I'm not saying anybody particularly doing that. I try not to do that myself. But this is just to lead us to say that you become your own worst enemy, which the apostles have thoroughly told us about that. Your biggest enemy in this thing is yourself. You got to fight against the worldly self of yours. Okay, that's what makes the Clark Kent character so brilliant with Superman, because you are still Superman, even though the costume that you wear is of a regular person walking around. The suit for Superman is his costume, right? And the Superman, that's naturally who he is. Okay, well, we have to walk around like that. So when that costume is tainted, it's because Superman is tainted. Okay, you're being the evil Superman. All right, and it's something spiritual that's going wrong that you're missing in your life, or that the Most High may have you going through, and you're accepting the chastisement and the affliction and the adversity, the fire, if you will. You're accepting it in the wrong way, or you're learning this thing, instead of accepting it and trying to go through it as the scriptures say. So here I am in Romans 7, and I'm going to close. I don't want to make it too long unless something hits me in the spirit, but this is pretty much the chapter that shows that you're your own worst enemy. One of them anyway is Romans 7. I'm going to start up at 9. I'm going to just try to read through as much as possible without, it says, for I was alive without the law once. We didn't even know there was a law, the statutes, laws, and commandments to try to keep, right? But when the commandment came, sin revived and I died, right? Now the knowledge of it, and I still can't defeat it, even having knowledge of it, of certain things, right? And the commandment, which was ordained to life, if you do them, you get life, but you have to do them perfectly, all of them. I found to be unto death, because you break one, you break them all, right? For sin taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me, right? Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just and good. So there's nothing wrong with the commandments. The flaw was us, okay? And in the 8th chapter, actually, that's Hebrews, the 8th chapter, it kind of speaks on that the flaw was in us. Okay, and even when it speaks of chains of darkness, okay, it talks about these unrighteous fleshly bodies. But this is a chapter that kind of goes in it. It says, was then that which is good made death unto me? Yahweh forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, worketh death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. Okay, now that you have knowledge and you do it now, it seems even worse, right? Matter of fact, let me read this in another translation. I'll just read it in the NLT, in the Blue Letter Bible here. It says, this is back in Romans 7, verse 9, at one time I lived without understanding the law, but when I learned the commandment not to covet, for instance, the power of sin came to life, and I died. So I discovered that the law's commandments, which were supposed to bring life, brought spiritual death instead. Sin took advantage of those commands and deceived me. It used the commands to kill me. But still, the law itself is holy, and its commandments are holy and right and good, right? But how can that be? Did the law, which is good, cause my death? Of course not. Sin used what was good to bring about my condemnation to death. Okay, so we see how terrible sin really is. All right, and that's the thing that really gets you, because now you see it and it's like, oh, that's why he's about to say, oh, wretched man that I am. It says it used God's good commands for its own evil purposes. Okay, that's how sin does it, right? And it condemns you to where you can't even be positive about it. It says, so the trouble is not with the law, for it is spiritual and good. The trouble is with me, for I am all too human, a slave to sin. See, the trouble is within us, in this flesh. I don't really understand myself, and that's what that I always tongue twist this in the KJV. For that which I do, I allow not, and for what I would that I do not, but what I hate, that I do. It is tongue twister, so I will stay in the other translation. I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate, right? Because you understand what the commandment is and what sin is, and you hate that you do it. It's part of repenting, but you still find yourself subject to it, to doing certain things. But if I know that what I am doing is wrong, this shows that I agree that the law is good. So I am not the one doing wrong. It is sin living in me that does it. Okay, in verse 17 in KJV, now that it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. It's in this flesh. Okay, back in the NLT 18, and I know that nothing good lives in me, that is, in my sinful nature. And look what it says here in the KJV, for I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. But to will, but to will is present with me, and how to perform that which is good I find not. Okay? In this body, it's hard to do complete righteously in these bodies, man. But what you can do, you should do, and what you can't do, you can't. This is grace. We're under grace right now. You can't beat yourself up because of it. Okay, I believe that was the previous chapter. Yep, it says here. I'll read it in the KJV, Romans 6:1. What shall I say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Yahweh forbid. How that we that are dead to sin live any longer therein. Okay. Going back, and I was at like 18. Romans 7 verse 18, and I in the NLT, and I know that nothing good lives in me, that is, in my sinful nature. I want to do good, what is right, but I can't. I want to do what is good, but I don't. I don't want to do what is wrong, but I do it anyway. Okay, this is why you're your biggest enemy. Okay, this is where the evil Superman versus the Clark Kent, versus yourself and the Superman good and bad. This is where this is at. Because here's the point. You can't, when you put on the Clark Kent, you got to be the righteous Superman to be the Clark Kent. You can't go back and be evil Superman version of Clark Kent. That's you. That means you in the world. Okay? So you got to be the righteous Superman, the good Superman, to be the Clark Kent. So you're, no matter what, at the core you're still righteous. You're still in the spirit. You're still right. Okay? Because this battle is between you and yourself. When the evil Superman takes over and you try to play the Clark Kent, you just a regular nigga again. You'll be like, oh, I could hit the blunt one time. Oh, I could go on and, she asked for it. She didn't say that she was wearing a ring, but she didn't really say that she was married. You start making excuse according to your own belly. Okay? And when you watch the movie, the analogy of it and how it plays out, man, you'll see how the evil Superman was really moving as that evil Superman. Right? Verse 21. Yeah, I'm going to read it to the end of this chapter. I have discovered this principle of life, that when I want to do what is right, I inevitably do what is wrong. I love God's law with all my heart. It says with the inward man, right? But there's another power within me that is at war with my mind. The power makes me a slave to the sin that is still within me. Oh, what a miserable person I am, oh wretched man that I am, right? Who will free me from this life that is dominated by sin and death? Okay, from the body of this death, right? Well, Yahweh Shai. That's why we have this grace period, and that's why we have the new covenant that will write this in us and make us perfect and be that righteous Superman through and through. And then eventually in the kingdom of heaven, we won't have to be Clark Kent at any moment, because this ain't the time of war. War be done out the earth. Okay? I'll read it. Verse 25. Thank Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. The answer is in Yahweh Shai Mashiach, our Lord. So you see how it is in my mind. I really want to obey God's law, but because of my sinful nature, I am a slave to sin. Okay, like I said, Yahweh Shai being that sacrifice, and with the second covenant that hasn't been initiated yet. Okay, we're still under grace. We're in a interim point between the old covenant of perfection in it, to where we don't get penalized for not being perfect in the law. We're just rehearsing it right now, so we're under grace. But then in the kingdom of heaven, it'll be written in us, and we'll be able to perform it perfectly according to the second covenant. All right, so like I was saying, it was a pretty good movie, man. You know, and there's a lot of spiritual things that you can take from the Superman, you know, analogy. You know, watching these movies, I always enjoyed this version because it wasn't a story that we all heard. This is something Superman battling himself. Okay, you know, he would never really get anywhere with Lois, so he kind of was dating this other lady, or trying to, and you just start seeing how all these things play out, and you know, and it was very good movie, man, very good movie. This was probably, like I said, I think it's my favorite one, even though 2 was really good, you know, with the 3 Kryptonians and General Zod and all of that, but this one to me was like the best individual standalone movie of all the Superman movies, even the Man of Steel movies. All right, but anyway, spiritual. You know, we can't turn this off, man. The spiritual life gotta keep moving in the spirit. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'll give all praise and glory unto Yahweh. By Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachakwadash, double honor to our apostles, the bishops, the elders of the great millstone, and greetings, salutations, blessings, much love unto you, hopeful elect. Shalom.